Hey everyone, welcome back to the Bimmer Barn. In today's episode, we're going to be putting the finishing touches on my E46 wagon to get it on the road, and we're going to be finishing installing the front brakes, the rear struts. I've got an O2 sensor to replace as well. A couple of small things before we get it off of the quick jacks, and I'm super excited to announce that we have some new wheels to install as well. So stay tuned to the end of the video because we'll get the car installed with the new wheels. We'll get this thing off the lift. I think we have to do an alignment as well. So we'll probably have to do that, and then we'll go take it for its first drive with all these new suspension bits and the new oil pan gasket with no leaks, no more leaks, besides the automatic transmission. So we're gonna have to order those seals and take care of that separately. Let's go ahead and get right to work on the car and just get this thing over with so we can get this thing driving. So in the previous episode, you guys saw us install the axles and the control arms up in the front here, but now all we need to do is install the brakes. So with a little editing magic, we're done. So there it was that simple as snapping my fingers, but not really. So like I said, matches the rear now. If you want to see how I did these, I'll put a link to the video up in the corner right here so you can see how we got a really nice finish out of these calipers, and it looks OEM. Also have the rotors painted, the little clips are painted here, and I would say that by now more of this car is new than it is old. I mean, between like all the bushings and the front control arms and refreshing everything, I'm saying that this car is definitely coming out real nice. Now you see that I have the engine support bar here. I didn't take it off yet for a reason. I wanted to show you guys this. Look at the position of the hook here. It's actually loose. So this was not loose, and I haven't messed with it at all when we, set this up. So what that means is the motor mounts were so shot that the motor was sitting lower than it should have. And now this thing is nice and loose because the motor is sitting in the correct position. So we're gonna remove that here. And yeah, I think next up, we're gonna turn our attention to the rear shock absorbers. So here we have everything that we're going to be installing, and the biggest thing here is the Detroit Axle brand shocks. These are actually sedan shocks, so we're going to find out really quickly if these work or not. The only thing I suspect is going to be like a possible different length between the all-wheel drive and the sedan non-all-wheel drive, but I couldn't find exactly the ones for my car. So I think these are going to work fine. They're very, very similar between all the E46s in the rear, but most importantly, we have the reinforcement plates that came with our heavy duty Miley brand upper mounts, and then this is the hardware that came with the struts, and this is the hardware that came with the kit from FCP Euro. Here are the bump stops as well as the little dust boots for the shocks, because mine are completely just gone, just torn apart. And this is funny, guys. Let me know if you guys are getting your parts like this. It says value parts for BMW and Mini. I've never seen this sticker on BMW parts before, but I got these from FCP Euro, so they must be genuine. Got the BMW sticker from the dealer that they originally came from right there, but it's just interesting. Value parts? I wish everything was a value part. Is it cheaper for some reason? Whatever. So we also have an O2 sensor, like I said, to install, but we'll put that aside. And over here we have exhaust gaskets and another exhaust hanger because I didn't realize that there was one that was broken back there. So just these are the last parts that we have to install. And I'm not going to show you guys too much detail about placing the rear shocks because I know that it's already been covered on YouTube before. I think FCP Euro has a great video showing how to get these out of the touring, but you do have to remove a lot of trim pieces. Let's go ahead and get the old ones out and install these babies. Well, I can't say that I'm surprised, honestly. And yes, it is a ton of work basically to get access to the rear struts on a touring. Just to get that panel off, the one that's sitting right there, you do have to remove the pillar covers here, and then just a ton of plastic stuff. And eventually you'll get this thing free. And looking at the insulation here, it looks like the last people to have replaced the Bilsteins definitely took a little bit of a shortcut, but I don't really blame them because it would have been a ton more work to get more access to that strut. And a lot of people just cut the corners there, which again, it's not a big deal. So there's these 13 millimeters up here and then the 18 millimeter at the bottom. Let's go ahead and remove all the carpets on this side and then get the struts out so we can put the new ones in. right, we got the old struts off, and man, these mounts are just cooked. Let me see if I can show you. So look at just how much play there is there, and that is just unacceptable. So you're gonna hear that in the back of the car, and eventually it could just tear itself right through. And if you look at this thing as well, there's like no rebound left in this thing. Like, look, the shaft it's doing its own thing. So wow. You know, one thing that you realize is that when you buy an older car like this with like 200,000+ miles, everything in it has probably already been serviced before. That's one of the cool things about a higher mileage car, is that if you're servicing something and you're fixing it, it's probably not the first time. And these are obviously aftermarket shocks, so someone has completely done the suspension before, I'm sure. And now here we are doing it again, and hopefully the front ones are all right. But yeah, the only thing that we need to grab from these struts is this lower washer right here, so it helps compress the strut mount right here. And so we're gonna go ahead and pull this washer off, and then we're gonna assemble our new struts, and then we'll be able to install them. Well, we got both of our struts installed, and now we just have this whole mess of interior trim pieces to install. But yeah, as you saw, we put the reinforcement plates on. Those are really cool. They come with the heavy duty Miley brand top mounts that we bought, and basically just helps brace the load and distribute it a little bit better than just having the two nuts here. So that's really cool. Both of them installed, and I can't wait to drive this car now, because I noticed before that it was actually sagging on one side, and it was definitely because one of these struts was fully blown. But the new ones are really nice, and look at them, they look like brand new OE struts. And there we are, just like that. Everything is back installed, and I have yet to carpet clean the carpets back here or in the car, so we're going to be doing that in the future. But for now, before I put the final carpet back in and cover the spare tire, I'm going to go ahead and replace this spare tire, because the set of wheels that I bought actually came as a full set of 5. So whoever has this car next is not only going to have the 4 beautiful wheels, but also a matching spare. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this, but I'm not going to spoil the wheels for you yet. So let me do a little bit of magic here, and there we go. Our new spare wheel is installed, and we got this nice cover, fits good, everything's tight. And of course, while we had the spare tire out, I vacuumed up all the dust and debris that was down there, and also cleaned it up with a rag and some degreaser. But yeah, now we can put the cover on here, and we're gonna move on to doing a brake bleed on the car. All right, so we've got our brake flush done all around. You saw the fluid that came out of it looked like wine. It was so dark. We got fresh fluid in there to all the brake calipers, and I also took a minute to install the exhaust system with our new exhaust hanger and the gaskets in the front. I also did the bolt check in the rear of the car. I also hooked up the emergency brake cables up here. So the car is really close to being ready to drive. My only thing is the alignment. So the front alignment is going to be easy to do. The rear is a little bit more difficult because of the rear trailing arms and the way that you have to adjust those, and then the camber as well. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get a perfect alignment, but I do have plans on how I'm going to be able to adjust the camber, but I need to order some stuff from Amazon first. But anyways, now we are almost done, and I think we're ready to put the wheels on, so let me show them to you. So here they are, and I forgot the style of these wheels, but I'll go ahead and put it on a caption here. But I think that these are standard on like the 330s and some of the more big boy models, I guess. So it's gonna be a great upgrade to our 325xi. The base model wheels are 16s, these are 17s, and I also got them wrapped with some tires that are just a couple years old, so I was able to score them really for a good deal off of Facebook Marketplace. The tire tread looks good, everything looks good, they're balanced. All we have left to do is install them and kind of get some alignment settings going on, and then we'll take the car out of the garage and show you how it looks. All right. The rear toe is set pretty well, only because I went by the installation marks from when the R-tabs were last installed and aligned. So my alignment looks pretty good. Look at how you can just see the 66 right there, and you can see a little bit more of it right there, which means that we have a little bit of toe in, which is completely natural. I'm gonna leave it at this setting and see how it rides. Maybe we can get it a little bit dialed to neutral toe. The front took a lot of up and down, and it was super toed in before, but now that we got the toe out, man, it looks meaty. So those toe plates really came in handy here. So we got a good starting alignment for this car. And depending on how it rides, you know, we might take it for a full professional alignment. But if it drives pretty straight, we might just leave it as is and continue to drive it. So now let's go ahead and take the quick jacks out. I did hear that it was raining outside, so we're gonna pull the car out. Hopefully it's not too bad. Take it for a test drive, and then I'll show you guys some final shots of what this thing looks like with the new wheels. Well, one thing that's immediately apparent is that there's no more clicking noise when you start from a dead stop like there was. I think it's coming from the axles. So it's definitely quieter, driving smoother. I think the front end was sitting higher. I am noticing that there is something grinding. I think it's when I'm turning and it sounds like a dust rotor or something like that, a dust cover from the brake rotor. So we'll take it for a quick spin and then see if we need to take a closer look, because I think that dust cover is making some noise. Surprising how straight it drives. Look at that. Boom. Let's put the windows up and see what kind of cabin noise we get. So it's nice and quiet in here. I will say it does make a little bit of noise. It's hard to tell right now what it is. Could be like a wheel bearing, could be road noise from the tires, if these are just noisy tires, honestly. I'm not too worried about it. It doesn't sound that bad, but I am curious. Maybe we'll see how it drives, at higher speeds. Maybe if the noise gets louder on the highway, then it might be something we need to address. But if it doesn't get any louder, or if it gets quieter on the highway, then I would think that it's something minor. We got some speed bumps up here, so let's see how the new suspension tackles these speed bumps. And keep in mind, power flex bushings in most of the rear. 3, 2, 1. Nice and smooth. Here's another one. Let's see. Nice and smooth. I think the rear shocks are working really good. It's not bouncing around with all the weight in the rear, so it feels good. The front shocks, hard to tell, but it didn't seem like they had blown yet. It was just one rear shock, so yeah, pretty smooth ride. It's definitely taking these speed bumps well, and it's not bouncing around or anything. Well, I guess you could say this is the first time we've driven it off-road, but this is not very far from the road, albeit. So, man, this thing looks really sick on the 330 rims. These 17s just fit in there pretty well. And with the suspension being all refreshed, we have plenty of clearance for the 55 tall tires. So that is great as well. And yeah, she drove out here real good. Actually, I think this is just a great spot for a thumbnail, which is why I wanted to bring it here. But yeah, you guys tell me what you think. Are these wheels pretty nice? I think they match. I think they match really well, and the car is coming together. So cannot wait to see us do more mods on this thing before it's 100% done, and just a little bit more service too. And these wheels are definitely not 100% cleaned yet, and we're not done with them yet, so stay tuned, because we're definitely going to be cleaning them up. There's still like just brake dust from years of grime and dirt, and the old wheel weights, they were like the clip-on type, and they put them on the outside, so we got to clean off these markings here. But I don't think that they need to be repainted. They do have a little bit of curb rashing, but nobody's perfect, right? So now we're back at home, and that's going to conclude today's episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching us put the finishing touches on the E46 wagon, and let me know what you guys think of these wheels in the comments down below. So I've got some more work to do on the car. We've actually got some cosmetic things to do next, and we do have to repaint that ugly white fender to get it to match the rest of the car. So stay tuned for more episodes as we really dial this thing in, and soon enough it'll be for sale. And don't forget, we have a lot more projects coming to the channel, so don't forget to subscribe. Leave a like before you go down below. And as always, I hope everyone has an awesome day. We'll see you next time.